Hello everyone and welcome to round 7 of the RRL GT3 Masters Championship. We are coming to you live from Australia, from the Mount Panorama Bathurst circuit for this new round of GT3 goodness from RRLeagues.com. So get yourselves comfortable. We have about 12 minutes left until our qualifying session will start. So if you are with me already now, then we can dive into some of the details of this championship. First of all, round 7 today, so almost the end of the championship. In 2 weeks' time we will travel to the Nürburgring to end of the season with a 100-minute race, but on the plan for today is a 75-minute race around Bathurst, which will be, as always, a real race of attrition, of keeping your car on track, not hitting the wall, etc. So that will be a real challenge for all the drivers. Looking at the in-game settings, we have a 15-minute qualifying session coming up in about 10 minutes, and we have a 2 times multiplier on the tires. So that means that strategy-wise, this race will get very, very interesting for sure. It means that tires could last for the whole race, but fuel, which has a 1x multiplier, will be very, very touch and go for all of the cars. So that means we will probably see some people trying to make it to the end with some coasting, and we will have to see which strategy pays off. There was no unanimity between the drivers on that, so we'll have to see who picks which strategy. As you can see, we have some varying race lengths here in this championship, with 2 longer races here at the end, 75 minutes around Bathurst and then 100 minutes around the Nürburgring GP circuit. Currently the drivers are in their practice session. They have there are 23 drivers on the server right now. So let's hope some more still come in the next couple of minutes, and then we're all set for a great qualifying session where everybody can push their car to the absolute limit around this track, with quite a long lap. We're seeing, let's see, we're seeing 202s more or less in qualifying trim. So we'll have to see what that means in terms of the final pole position in this race. But first, let's have a quick look at the results of the race of 2 weeks ago from Zhuhai, which was won by Vlastimir Lukas, his second win of the season. He was followed by Ralph Arella and Greg Metcalf on the podium. Looking at the AM Cup, which we'll get into in a bit, it was Jürgen Walby taking the win in front of Andre Mol and then Mike Wyatt. There were some post-race penalties awarded there, most notably to our championship leader at that moment and also reigning champion in the GT3 class, Robert Horvat. So we'll have to see how that impacts the standings, which we'll get into right now. Robert Horvat is still in the lead of the Drivers' Championship, as you can see, but he's only 1 point ahead of Vlastimir Lukas, so it's as close as it can get between these two. Ralph Arella, Robert Horvat's teammate, is not too far back, only about 30 points, so everything is still possible there. David Dore is trailing Ralph Arella with 1 point, so that top 4 is really bunched up. And then we have Manojlovic and Nuno Miguel Abreu trailing a bit behind, but not too far. And then we have our AM Cup leader, Jürgen Walby, in 7th position overall. If we then look to the right, the AM Cup standings, You can see Jürgen Walby is in the lead of that championship with 150 points. Andre Mol has 131, and Jack Camaletto in third spot with 100 points. So that AM Cup in this case is a championship only containing drivers that have never scored a podium finish at RRLeagues.com. So always interesting to follow those battles around, as you will see, and as you can see in all the previous streams of the races of this championship. So if you haven't watched those, you have some time, check those out, because there are some real crackers in that. But that AM Cup really aimed at people new to sim racing, not on the pace maybe with the top runners, and also new drivers to RRLeagues.com can enter in that championship. And well, if new drivers think they are too fast for this class, they can also opt out. But as we could see, it's a very interesting championship. Many position changes throughout the races, but Jürgen Walby on top at the moment. And that especially also next to the Drivers' Championship, which is extremely close. We have an extremely close battle as well for the Teams' Championship, where we have 77 Racing at the top of the standings. That's Robert Horvat and Ralph Orella. They have 845 points, whereas David Dore and Vlastimir Lucas have 843 points. So only 2 points between these four drivers, between these two teams, the Porsche versus the Audi. And then SRT with Jas Forsberg and Nemanja Manojlovic are well, a little under 200 points behind. So BH Racing and 77 really top of their class at the moment. And well, they still have 2 rounds to keep it all together and to score some big points and make the difference maybe before the last round at the Nürburgring. But as we saw throughout the whole season, these guys are not giving each other an inch. We had Robert Horvat from memory a bit further down the pack in the last race at Zhuhai, but then it was Ralph Orella taking the big points away with the third spot finish, and Vlastimir Lucas and David Dore also finishing in that top 5 in those last few races. So we'll have to see how that pans out throughout the race. So not only do we have a race around this fantastic racetrack on our hands, we have a battle for the AM Cup Championship, for the Teams Championship, and also for the Drivers' Championship. And as a last one, we also have a battle for the Ironman Championship, which, as you can see, is just counting the amount of laps that everyone has completed in the last few races, or in all the races, but we're only showing the last 2 here, and adding those all together. And as you can see, any race winners, which are Lucas, Manojlovic and Horvat for this season, are excluded from those standings. So if we look at those standings, then without these drivers, we have only David Dore and Ralph Orella with all laps completed in this series. And we have Nuno Miguel Abreu trailing by about 5 kilometers, so that's about a lap here around Bathurst. So he has 1 lap to make up. Andre Mol also right up there, he has 1 more lap. He's 1 more lap down. Did only 49 laps at Slovakia Ring, for example, so lost a lap there. And also Simon Fillingham is quite close. But only 2 rounds remain, and the aim of this championship is to really encourage people to start all the races, finish all the races, and keep going even if they manage to get some sort of incident in the first few laps, for example. So lost a lap. That's our 4 championships on the line in these next few races, and we'll have to follow those around. So let's get into the action for today with 2 minutes left on the clock before qualifying starts. This is the legendary circuit that we will be visiting today, and we'll get to know it throughout the qualifying and race sessions, but it's a very known circuit. Everybody knows these famous corners like the Chase, Murray's Corner, Hell Corner, Mountain Straight, Skyline, the Dipper, etc. So that is something to look forward to, and the drivers are also looking forward to that. So this is the circuit, and we'll learn a lot more about it during the next few sessions. Our 2 other championships are also ending, or nearing their end, with the last 2 rounds still coming up. But if you want to join RRLeagues.com for some good racing, then you are already free to still join our DTM Championship in Race Room Racing Experience, or our BTCC Championship in R Factor 2. This will be our last R Factor 2 series for now, so that is something that if you still want to join, you can, but as from next season, which will start in January, we will have only Race Room Racing Experience series running at RRLeagues.com. But as you will see, competition is very, very tight, and you will have to be on the top of your game to win any championships here in this league. But as you could see, with those alternative championships, there is something to fight for everybody, and yeah, quality of the drivers or speed of the drivers ranges from very, very fast to just normal mortals like you or me. Anyway, here we are on Bathurst with Janusz Migasz getting into the pits, and the qualifying session just starting. So let's get our settings done then. Here we are, Bathurst Mount Panorama, as the drivers are heading out on their outlaps. 30 degrees track temperature, 18 degrees air temperature here for today. So everything to play for with all these drivers. So a very packed up grid so far, going up the mountain. That will spread out as I think Marko Talewski already hits the wall on his outlap. Through Skyline here, braking. Oh, Talewski goes straight on. Everybody getting their car up to temperature, getting ready for that first flying lap around the circuit, and then we will see what kind of lap times we are looking at. So Ralph Arella is the first one out of the gates. Let's follow him around. So 477, the Teams Championships leaders. Let's see what Ralph Arella can set in terms of a benchmark lap time. Craig Metcalf was very, very quick in the practice session, it seems, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that with him. But here's Ralph Arella through Hell Corner, over the curb, gets it through there very, very tidy, up Mountain Straight now. As the cars behind have spread out a bit, and braking for Quarry Bend, very, very difficult. You need to get on the power as early as you can, get to that, close to that wall there on the right, and then a very difficult braking zone through the cutting, up the hill to Griffin's Mount and Reed Park, and change direction through Sulman Park, get the car turned in close to that wall, and then through McPhillamy Park, going up to Skyline. Hard braking zone here to get your descent of the hill started through the Dipper and the S's. And Arella making his way down to Forest's Elbow, close to the wall here, and then on the power as early as you can to take advantage of all that time on Conrad Straight. And heading to the fastest right-hander of Australia, the Chase. It's quite a long lap, so with 15 minutes on the clock, might not be that easy to set many lap times. This looks like a very tidy lap from Ralph Arella. Didn't put a foot wrong. Now, could be that he was just a bit under the limit, or he's just on a real flyer. Let's see what kind of lap time he sets. Oh, that's gonna be a very quick one. A 202.9. That's the benchmark in the Porsche. Vlastimir Lucas just a bit slower. As we said, the time's coming in. Metcalf, he needs to finish his lap. He needs to brake for Murray's corner and get onto the power to get over the line. Can he get provisional pole position? He slots into 4th, but look at those close lap times within the top, let's say top 7, top 6, top 7. Very close. Everybody getting their laps in. And Vlastimir Lucas, our race winner last time around, 3/10 up in the first sector. So on a very quick lap. And as we can see, the drivers setting 2 flying laps here in this qualifying session. I think that will be there will be 2 runs of 2 laps for the drivers to see if they can manage to get a good lap in. Good second sector as well by Vlastimir Lucas, and he's already going down Conrad Straight. Manojlovic puts himself into 2nd now, tying the lap time with Vlastimir Lucas. We have also Miguel Abreu, quick, and Ralph Arella. Let's see what kind of lap time he sets, and then jump to Vlastimir Lucas. Arella doesn't seem to have gone quicker. So let's see. Lucas. Arella not improving, but Lucas will improve, and he will go in provisional pole. Yes, he does, at 202.5, 4/10 clear, almost off the field. Also Nuno Miguel Abreu, taking so many pole positions in the last 2 races. What can he do in terms of lap time here? Puts himself into pole position with a 202 flat. What a lap by Miguel Abreu. Once again, I think he only lost one pole position in the last 6 races, but couldn't convert those to pole, to a win or a podium spot. So once again, as I said 2 weeks ago and 1 month ago, certainly a driver to watch. Oh, Ethan Kearley into the wall, unfortunately not finishing that lap off. We have Manojlovic in 3rd. He is improving. He is 8/10 down. So what a lap by Nuno Miguel Abreu, scraping the wall almost there for Manojlovic as the guys are getting ready for their 2nd runs. Nemanja with his teammate Forsberg, which I don't immediately see on the... oh yeah, he is down in 13th at the moment for SRT. And Manojlovic aborting that lap. So we're halfway through. Abreu with a 5/10 gap to Lucas, and then Manojlovic for your top 3. Metcalf was setting the pace in practice in the Mercedes. He's on a good lap, not a great one, but let's see where he ends up. He's 1 second down on the pole time. Goes through the chase, and he has Arella behind, if I'm not mistaken. Does he move up the grid? 6th becomes 3rd. 6/10 down on Abreu, so very good lap for Greg Metcalf here in this case. If we look at the AM Cup, we have André Bergsma in 7th at the moment, taking a pole position in the class. Jorgen Walby in 9th and Jack Camaletto in 11th. That's your top 3 in the AM Cup. And Greg Metcalf immediately starting another lap. Some drivers improving on their own times, but only Greg Metcalf currently going quickest of all in the first sector. 33 flat for him. Also Abreu still improving on his time, but he's a bit further back in the lap, so Metcalf making Forrest's elbow as wide as he can, and onto the power. Let's quickly see what Abreu has been up to. Just a slight improvement in the first sector. Let's see Greg Metcalf slightly down in the second sector. Can he get in front of Vlastimir Lucas? That will be the question. Dore, that we missed that. Dore up into P2 for BH Racing. So Dore and Lucas in 2nd and 3rd at the moment. So the 77 guys have their work cut out for them. Greg Metcalf through Murray's corner as positions are changing a bit further down the field. Metcalf not improving. 4 minutes left on the clock. Nuno Miguel Abreu then still improving. He will get into the 201s. That's incredible pace through the chase. Only has one more corner to get right to extend his advantage over Dore and Lucas. Will he get into the 201s, Abreu? I'm pretty sure of it. Yes, he does it. 201.7 as Lucas gets in front of his teammate David Dore, back up into 2nd position. So it's a trading of fast lap time. So the final 3 minutes. Metcalf down into 4th now. Had a good first sector, but aborted on the 2nd one and has now retired from the session. Greg Metcalf will not set another lap. Robert Torvat, our current championship leader, he's currently in 10th position. His teammate is in 6th. Both the Porsches want to try and get closer to the front because they want to stay close to Lucas and Dore in 2nd and 3rd for that team's championship. Horvat will not have time for another lap after this one, so this is the one that counts. He is improving, but no purple sectors for him. Let's see where he ends up. He will get a bit further up than P10, but where will it be? Moves up into P9, so not the ideal qualifying session for Robert Horvat, that's for sure. Ethan Kearley, he's in 23rd at the moment, improving on his own time. Nemanja Manojlovic, David Kotsurek and Jack Camaletto setting faster sector times, green sector times, let's say. So let's see where that puts these guys. Not too many people on the track still. Abreu is on the track, but I don't think he will go any quicker than that. Clearly setting a 2:07.7. Manojlovic, will he improve from 5th position? Yes, he does. He moves up into 3rd and splits the BH Racing Audis. Robert Horvat, yeah, still on track, but I don't think he has time to finish off this lap. Will be very close anyway, and he goes wide, so that won't be an improvement. I'm pretty sure of that. Callum Morgan making a return to the league after a couple of races absences, and session is not over yet, but I don't think there will be any changes to this final standings. So it's Nuno Miguel Abreu once again taking pole position in his Mercedes with a 2:01.7, an incredible lap time. He's joined alongside on the first row of the grid by Vlastimir Lucas in the Audi. Nemanja Manojlovic in the Corvette is in 3rd, and David Dore will start in 4th position. Then we have Metcalf and Arella, Migash and Walby taking the pole position in the AM Cup in the end. So let me take a quick sip, and then let's get into the race. So here we are, 15 seconds to go. Miguel Abreu on the right, on the inside line for Hell Corner, and Vlastimir Lucas on the left. And off we go. Bad start for Greg Metcalf, or no, it's Jurgen Walby, sorry. Getting a bad start, and at the front, Lucas and Miguel Abreu side by side, but Lucas is now on the inside for Quarry Bend. So let's see what that brings. Just a slight overlap, but I think Vlastimir has to concede that position for now. Oh, goes up the inside. I think he will have the move done. Needs to stick it around the outside through the cutting, and he does. Yes, he does. Gets through there cleanly. So Vlastimir Lucas moves up into P1. Nuno Miguel Abreu, followed by Manojlovic. Then Metcalf, Arella, Migash, Horvat already moving up, and Jack Camaletto as well. Everybody getting through those first few corners cleanly, it seems. Dipper here. So we'll have to see which stories develop here throughout this race. In any case, Abreu losing P1 in the first lap, but that shouldn't be a big problem. Jurgen Walby, he's following Jack Camaletto, who he started in front of. Will they go side by side through the chase? Yes, they do. Can Jurgen get past? Yes, he takes the lead of the IAM Cup back from Jack Camaletto. Very nice to see those battles already happening right now. It's the battle for the AM Cup lead. Robert Horvat made it up into P7 from P9 start position. So decent start for him. He has his teammate 2 positions up. David Dorge. I can't see Dorge on the... Oh, so okay, we lost Dorge, or he didn't even start the race. Let me quickly check. There's no mention here of him. Doesn't seem like it. So unfortunately, oh, that's very unfortunate for BH Racing. Lose a Dorge who was starting quite far up the grid. Here's the gap for the lead of the race. Lucas followed by Abreu. Now everybody settling into their rhythms for now. As I already pointed out at the beginning of the stream, strategy is crucial here in this race. Keeping it out of the wall, but strategy will be key here, as all the cars with their fuel tanks will be just short of fuel to make it to the end, but the tires should last for 75 minutes if taken care of. So we'll have to see who can do a no-stop strategy, who will do a one-stopper, and which strategy will work out to be the best. Miguel Abreu really putting the pressure on Vlastimir Lucas now. Looking back from Lucas over start-finish straight, braking for held corner. Very unfortunate to lose Dorge, I think through a connection issue. I suspect there's no mention of that in our Discord yet. And here on the stream either, so we'll have to wait for some feedback maybe there. Nemanja Manojlovic able to stay with these two, so the field quite evenly spread out. If we quickly have a look at the track map, see everything is still quite bunched up there. Kochurek at the back of the grid, but it's oh so difficult to drive around this track at this pace for 75 minutes and well, yeah, scrape the wall from time to time. We'll get over this curb here and get on the grass. We'll get the braking wrong for this section here over Skyline and into the Dipper. It's so... the mistake is so easily made, as should be a huge respect for the drivers to take on this challenge, that is for sure. So we have our top 6 with Janusz Migasz at the back of this top 6 group, and then we have a slight gap to Robert Horvat, about 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds. Let's keep an eye on that gap and see if Robert can move up, can get close to Migasz, and maybe move alongside his teammate there, who is in P5 at the moment, just behind Greg Metcalf and Manojlovic. We see them all there in one shot. Walby is still in the lead of the AM Cup, in front of Camaletto and Andre Bergsma. So the AM Cup leaders, top 3, battling for position. Miguel Abreu very, very close to Lucas, just like Metcalf is to Manojlovic. Seems there are some technical difficulties with the stream. I'm not seeing any issues from my side in terms of broadcasting, so I'll just keep going and hope for the best. Let's say restarting it now doesn't seem like a good option. So, Horvat made a mistake, I think, and Jürgen Walby got past him. So instead of moving up, he's moving backward. Robert Horvat. Of course, this is a different kind of race. There's not too many opportunities to pass, so it's more like a Monaco-style race mostly, unless someone makes a mistake on the entry to the two long straights. But in Sector 2, through the mountain section, it's very difficult to pass for sure. Let's have a quick rundown of the field, shall we, as we already have 10 minutes of racing under our belts, and there doesn't seem to have been any major incidents for any cars, except for David Dorre dropping out. So in the lead of this motor race we have Vlastimir Lucas, but as you can see, Nuno Miguel Abreu is sticking with him, and the two leaders are eking out a bit of a gap to Manojlovic and Greg Metcalf right behind them. Then it's a slight gap to Arella and Migash. They are closely followed by Walby and Robert Horvat. Then it's Andre Bergsma. He's in second in the M Cup, followed by Jack Camaletto in the McLaren. Then we have Jas Forsberg through the chase here. Marko Talevski, Rick Binnersley in 13th position, Andre Moll in 14th. Still in a very close battle with each other. As I quickly look at Miguel Abreu, because he's looking for the inside line, but they can't make the move stick on Main Straight. Then we have Clive Britton in 15th position. Simon Fillingham starting from the back. He's just in front of his teammate Callum Morgan now in 16th and 17th. Stefano Merazzi in 18th position. Mike Wyatt in 19th. Rob Jones in 20th, and he's coming into the pits. So let's hope that's a strategy call, although he seems quite slow, so he might have gotten a puncture of some sort or an incident. Nigel Wood is missing his front splitter, so that might have something to do with it. And Ethan Kearley at the moment is in last position, but they will both pass Rob Jones, who is here standing in the pits. So we'll have to keep an eye out for Rob Jones, see what he's up to. Whether this is a routine stop to just get a bit of fuel, but he's in the pits already for quite a long time, so doesn't seem like a routine stop to me. So that's your rundown of the field. Here we are once again with the leaders as the gaps start growing a little bit. Miguel Abreu. Really putting the pressure on Lucas, trying to find a way past. Oh, that's very late braking Wow, the Mercedes can brake very, very late for that corner. That's certainly something to watch out for. As Abreu is in the slipstream, moves to the inside, gets a bit of overlap, but then needs to get out of it to avoid a hairy situation. Through the cutting, very difficult corner, very difficult braking zone. As Lucas gets very, very close to the wall there on the right, and the left and the right once again. So it's really a roller coaster at this pace. Very difficult to keep the car within these boundaries at all times. Braking for Skyline here. Down the gearbox into second or third gear, and then back up. Imagine doing this for 12 hours. That's something else. And I think, yeah, Nigel Wood also in the pits, so there must have been some kind of incident there. And Nigel Wood, our first retirement of the race, unfortunately. Although we might have lost someone else still, because there's only 22 on the server right now, and we had 24 before David Torre dropped out. Miguel Abreu trying around the outside of Murray's corner. Will he try to go for the inside line through Hell corner? This time he brakes a bit earlier and stays behind. So the pressure is really on, and this battle at the front has allowed Manojlovic and Metcalf to get closer. Look at Metcalf as well, very close behind, mimicking Abreu just in front of him. Looks like the fastest car on track. Fastest lap time was for Greg Metcalf. So, as we said already during practice, a car to watch. He did a 203.6, fastest lap of anyone on the circuit right now. Last lap times all in the 204s, with Lucas indeed slowest of that top. Even the top 8, Robert Horvat setting the fastest lap there. So everything bunching up slightly, because Abreu is putting so much pressure on Lucas. Again through the chase. This must be an opportunity for Abreu. He's on the inside line. Can he get the braking done? Oh, gets a bit unsettled over the curb. Oh, on the grass, and he hits Vlastimir Lucas. Oh, that's very unfortunate. Abreu gets it going again. Moves over to the right. And I think he is waiting for Lucas to rejoin. So those are that's one of our rules, our gentleman's rules, to wait for a victim. And I think this was indeed Abreu's fault, who is slowing down for Lucas to rejoin in front of him. Slowing down only slightly. Did he get going again? Looks like it. But anyway, that changes the order up completely. I think the problem there was that Abreu just got unsettled over that curb on the inside of the fast right-hander, and couldn't get his braking done properly, and then turned in just a bit too early, and tag the back of Vlastimir Lucas. Very unfortunate, but that puts Nemanja Manojlovic at the top of this motor race in the Corvette with Greg Metcalf. As I said, our fastest driver on the track. He is in second spot, and now looking at a possible P1 if he can get close enough to Manojlovic. Ralph Orella is in third, Janusz Migasz up into fourth, and Jürgen Walby, our AmCup leader, in fifth position. And this also means Robert Horvat moves up into P6, so that's yeah, bad moment, bad day at the moment for BH Racing. David Dore dropping out, and Lucas going from first to 8th position due to that incident, as Jürgen Walby, or Migasz, makes a mistake as well, sorry, and both Horvat and Walby go through, and also Miguel Abreu goes through on him. So looks like Lucas 2:17 on this last lap, at 2:06.1 his current lap. That's quite slow compared to the rest, so could be that he has a bit of issues with the car after that incident. Can Vlastimir Lucas recover? That will be the question. Can he get close to Robert Horvat, his drivers' championship rival? That's the one he has to watch if he wants to go for his own glory. In terms of the team's championship, it's not a good day, as I said. He just needs to salvage as many points as he can for the team. But yeah, for the Drivers' Championship, he needs to try and get in front of Robert Horvat, who is in the sandwich between Walby and Nuno Miguel Abreu. Oh, as we have a BMW slow through the mountain section, getting out of the way. But no harm done there, it seems. Abreu very, very close, braking on the outside. Can he try and make a move on Robert Horvat into Murray corner? Goes for the inside. But Horvat slightly defending already. Now Abreu up the inside, and that's very difficult to defend. Horvat stays on the outside, and that's move done for Nuno Miguel Abreu. Can Robert Horvat get back at him? Doesn't seem like it is losing time. It's more likely Janusz Migasz can get past him. There is some overlap. Can Migasz get past? It doesn't seem so at the moment. So Horvat down into P6 now for now. Meanwhile, these guys need to calculate in their head what kind of strategy they want to do. I don't think in this scenario that there's any fuel saving going on, to be honest. Only if you have a bit of a gap. For example, like Ralph Orella in third, or some guys a bit further down the field, they could do some lifting and coasting and save some fuel. Not exactly sure how much fuel they need to save throughout the whole stint, but yeah, it should be a couple of liters, so that's not an easy task for sure. I will be right back with you. So Robert Horvat, as you could see, gaining back a spot, as we have Nuno Miguel Abreu retiring from the race, unfortunately. So it isn't meant to be for him once again in this field of cars. But Horvat now in 5th position, 5 seconds back from Jürgen Walby. Being hunted down by Janusz Migas. Can he do some field saving? I think that will be key. You don't want to be forced to do a pit stop. You need to choose for it and drive accordingly. If you are doing a pit stop, you need to go full 100% for the whole stint and just take the fuel that you need. If you plan to do a no stopper, you need to start thinking about that already from the beginning of the race. There's never an ideal scenario where you switch between the two. It's never good. So we'll have to see if that is a possibility, as Bergsma, Forsberg and Camaletto are absolutely right there together. Forsberg gets out on top, followed by Bergsma and Camaletto. That's our battle for P2 and P3 in the AM Cup. And Jürgen Walby on the back straights, behind Ralph Arella. On Conrad Mountain Straight, but opts out of it. He was very, very close, but didn't want to take the risk of making a move there around the outside or up the inside. Manojlovic has meanwhile made a very slight gap to Metcalf. It's now just under 2 seconds, so a bit of breathing space for him, and the times are already dropping off quite significantly. Fastest last lap was for Jürgen Walby at 2:04.4. He was fastest of all through that last lap. The gap between Walby and Horvat hovering around 6.5, 7 seconds. We'll have to keep an eye out for that if he can get any closer. Again, Walby. Can he challenge Arella through the chase? He's at the inside and already in front. Gets the braking done, and wow, what a move by Jürgen Walby. Gets the pass done on Ralph Arella. Quick move by him, and he's up into P3 overall. That's a very good result currently for our AM Cup leader, Jürgen Walby. have a quick look at the track map to see how spread out the field is right now. So we have most of our drivers still on the lead lap, as you can see. Oh, there's been an incident. Sorry. Oh, that's Greg Metcalf and Jürgen Walby, both backwards and into the wall. Oh, this is getting dangerous. What are they doing? This is not really what we want to see. Drivers going backwards along the track. Metcalf gets going again. Oh. Talevski just avoiding Walby. So no idea what happened there, unfortunately. But funnily enough, as bad as it is for Walby and Greg Metcalf and also Manojlovic involved, both of those drivers have retired from the race. Unfortunately, this puts Ralf Arella and Robert Horvat for 77 right at the front of the field. So that's not what they expected 5 minutes ago. Yeah, very unfortunate that we didn't see that incident, or I didn't at least. Big drama here at Bathurst as always. And it puts Vlastimir Lukas back up into 4th position. And it puts Bergsma. Quickly check if he's in the AM Cup. No, sorry, he's not in the AM Cup. So it's Jack Camaletto at the moment in the lead of this race for the AM Cup, followed by Rick Binnersley, if I'm not mistaken. No, he's also not there. So that should be Andre Mol. And then Jürgen Walby, he's down into 13th position, but he has quite a bit of damage that he needs to get sorted. So yeah, big drama there at the moment. And now can Arella and Horvat figure out or make their strategy work, whatever it may be. Janusz Migas at the meanwhile just keeping out of trouble and up into P3 for the pole. Jürgen Walby trying to get some repairs done. Marko Talevski was also in the pits and back out again. So that puts a bit of a stop on the real action here with that big incident at the front involving yeah, most of the top 5, let's say. But Janusz Migas is still keeping Horvat and Arella honest. Arella might have been slightly involved in that. He was riding at the front with Manojlovic, with Metcalf, etc. So he might be a bit slower. We'll have to keep an eye out for lap times comparing Arella and Horvat, and on the last lap there was an 8/10 advantage to Arella, and on this lap it was again half a second that Horvat is gaining on his teammate. So we'll have to see if he can consistently outpace his teammate and get close to him to pass him for the lead. Vlastimir Lukas, as we can see there in the background, is not too far. And he's also setting some good lap times into the 205s for P2, 3 and 4, into the 206s for Ralf Arella in P1. And we are already almost halfway through this race. So time goes by very, very quickly. Jürgen Walby, meanwhile, got a new front splitter, and he's trying to get past Ethan Kearley on Conrad Straight. He's on the outside for the chase. Inside now for the braking zone. and he gets the move done. He's back up into P16 and driving around for some good points. Let's hope. Jack Camaletto, our AM Cup leader, driving around in 7th position overall at the moment. And Simon Fillingham, after starting from the back, staying out of trouble more or less, and up into P9 now as well. So as I said, a race of attrition. We have already lost 6 drivers so far in this race. So if you can get your car to the finish, there will be some good points waiting for you in whichever position you finish. Very sorry for that. Seems there was an outage of the connection, but we're back and looks like the connection is a lot better, so you're set for a blistering end of this race. Final 20 minutes. Gaps seem to be quite big at the moment, but things will get a lot closer in the coming minutes. Yeah, seems like connection is stable again. So very sorry for that delay and for the maybe bad quality in the beginning of the stream, but we are live once again from round 7 of the RRL GT3 Masters Championship, as Andre Bergsma is putting pressure on Jack Camaletto. Now that looks like an ordinary battle, but Jack is in the lead of the AM Cup and wants to keep it that way. So will he take unnecessary risks to defend? Well, he doesn't just wave by Andre Bergsma, which is his full right, of course. Oh, Andre, very late move there on the inside through Hell Corner, and looks like he has the advantage. He is in front. It's a good move by Bergsma. Can Jack Camaletto just pick his wagon there, attach it to Bergsma and move up? That would be nice to see, as Vlastimir Lucas is now about 3 seconds off Simon Fillingham. So we can start following him around. Janusz Migas has also pitted. He was in 3rd at some point, but he is quite a bit slower than Lukas. He has lost 8 seconds since the pit stop to Lukas. So he is certainly not getting the same performance out of his car after that pit stop, unfortunately for him. Of course, 6th position is nothing to be ashamed of at the moment, and might be the case that he gets close to Fillingham, who is not doing the fastest lap times of the world at the moment. Vlastimir Lucas has also set the fastest lap of the race with a 203.2, if I'm saying that correctly. Still doing 203.7 in the last lap, whereas Horvat and Arella are doing 206 flats. We were riding with the front-facing camera that everybody in our community loves so much. Unfortunately, the cockpit camera is not working. But here you see Vlastimir Lucas closing in on Simon Fillingham very, very, very quickly. And the gap to the front is 42 seconds. So that gap not coming down as quickly as before. But here, through the cutting, you see the amount of grip advantage that he has over Simon Fillingham now. He just needs to get through this mountain section quickly. Needs to get onto the back of Simon, and if he can get a good exit through Forest's elbow, I think he could get the job done immediately down Conrad Straight. But then he needs to get a bit closer. He's just within 1 second now. He needs to be within 5/10, I feel, by the end of this downhill section here, which has happened now. He's within half a second. Simon going a bit defensive, and then onto the power. Yeah, and Lucas has a straight line speed advantage, down 2/10, 1/10. Will he stick his nose up the inside here? Yes, he does. Side by side. Will Simon gift him the place? Well, didn't gift him, but Lucas was legitimately in front by the turn-in, so Vlastimir Lucas moves up into P4, and he has a 5-second gap to Jas Forsberg to make up. And the gap to the front down to 38 seconds. So really a race of attrition and a race of strategy. That is, that's for sure. As we see, Jürgen Walby getting close to Marko Talevski. So another position maybe on the line here into the braking for Murray corner. Talevski defending quite prominently. Moving to the inside, he doesn't want to give away his P10. Oh, and a small touch there. Talevski moved over, didn't leave any room there for Walby, I feel. And a small touch there, but Jürgen Walby gets past, and he has now a 17-second gap to his main rival in the AM Cup, Jack Camaletto. As Talevski dives up the inside through Quarry, and Rick Binnersley gets into the barriers in the back. Unfortunately, Clive Britton is waiting for him, so there must have been a small tap. Binnersley gets going again, and Clive will let him pass. He's waiting there on the outside of the cutting. So small incident there between those two, but most notably Talevski getting back past Jürgen Walby with a very, very late dive bomb into Quarry Bend. Will Walby retake that position here at the end of Conrad Straight? Meanwhile, the gap between Lucas and Forsberg, Lucas got past Forsberg already. I was not expecting that to be so quick because the gap was 5 seconds, but obviously Forsberg had some kind of mistake, and Vlastimir Lucas is already past, so there's now a 35-second gap, sorry, between the lead cars and Vlastimir Lucas. Can he get close? Will the lead cars still have to fuel save some more by the end of the race as Walby gets back past Marko Talevski? And I think he will now stay in front. Yes, he will. Now the gap to Jack Camaletto in front is 20 seconds. He has 12 minutes to make up that gap, so he needs to count on a mistake by his rival to win another AM Cup race, or else it will be Jack Camaletto's. Andre Mol is in 3rd spot, only 2 spots back from Jürgen Walby. So also the AM Cup Championship and the battles on track, very, very close and unpredictable. As Robert Horvat gets closer and closer to Ralph Arella now as well. The gap down to 2 seconds. So maybe Arella is starting to struggle with the grip of his tires. He was a bit further in the front than Horvat, so he might have taken a bit more out of those tires. But only 12 minutes to go. I think in normal circumstances, if Arella and Horvat did not miscalculate and did not save enough fuel, they will get across the line in 1st and 2nd, in whichever order they fight out. If they make a mistake, however, Lucas will be very, very close and right there to pounce, that's for sure. Looking at the last lap times, a 2:04 flat for Lucas, a 2:05.3 for Horvat, and a 2:06.1 for Arella. So Arella the slowest car of the top 3 at the moment. And that's most importantly nice to see for Horvat, who could take another win in this championship. But also Lucas still getting closer. However, in this strategy race, Forsberg and Fillingham, I think they can be very, very happy with themselves. And looks like Forsberg is also struggling with the grip because Fillingham has closed down the gap to him. And is ready to start battling for the final 10 minutes of this race. Does the McLaren offer a bit more grip here at the end of this race? Already 1 hour done around Mount Panorama. And a gap at the front at about 1 second now, under 1 second even. Another 3/10 quicker for Robert Horvat on that last lap. So the battle for the lead will be on very, very shortly. There's not too much time there. And the teammates need to make sure they don't collide. Maybe Horvat would now just think, okay, I'm just gonna stay in 2nd, get some good points for the team. But the gap between him and Lucas in the championship is so small that actually for the team might be best to swap them around. Maybe, not sure if that's how 77 would go about its business. It's all up to them, of course. Fillingham now really on the gearbox of Forsberg. Oh, gets the braking wrong. Backed up into the wall. Fortunately, doesn't seem like there's too much damage for him. Can get going again, but of course, the gap to Forsberg now again 4 seconds. Will be difficult to get that back with a slightly bent car at the back there. I was just going to say, following someone so closely through that mountain section is a recipe for disaster. It's very easy to just follow someone and lose focus of where you need to look, because as we have learned in so many videos, where you look is extremely important, both in real life racing and sim racing, to get the best out of your racing line. And well, could be that Simon's vision there was just not where it needed to be, and he made a slight misjudgment in the braking, tried to correct it and slid into the wall. But here's the battle for the lead, the two green and yellow Porsches. They have some traffic in front. Who is that? Can't see on the track map, unfortunately. Oh, looks like that's Ethan Kearley with his last front splitter. Yep, there he is. Tries to get out of the way, and he does so successfully. Once again down Conrad Straight. We have 6.5 minutes to go. So when we cross the line, we'll have to see how many laps we would still have left, considering these guys are doing 2:06s, let's say. I think there's 3 more laps in this race, and that's not enough for Vlastimir Lucas, but it might be enough for Robert Horvat to claim another victory in this championship, or Ralph Arella, who has also won a race already, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. No, sorry, Arella did not win a race yet, and also David Torres' retirement and also Nuno Miguel Abreu's retirement means that Arella will be at the top of the standings for the Ironman standings, all alone at the top with quite a good margin over Andre Mol, if I'm not mistaken. So that championship may be getting the decisive move here in this Bathurst race. Looking back here from Ralph Arella as we ride up the mountain and start going down once again. Horvat as close as he can get to those walls and to those apexes. Is there still traffic on their way? We have Stefano Merazzi about 10 to 15 seconds in front, but nothing really major coming up in the next 5 minutes. Of course, in terms of handling, not too much difference between these two cars. They are identical, only the setup might vary just a little bit. As you could see, Robert Horvat was able to brake quite a bit later and harder than Ralph Arella. Will there still be a position switch here at the end of the race? We're going to witness it live and on board. The gap to Vlastimir Lucas behind 25 seconds, so that means he made up over 40 seconds by the end of the race to these two, but it was not enough. He should have hoped for a bit more of this, a bit more battling between these two to slow them down a bit, because this really is playing into the favor of Vlastimir Lucas, but looks like it's too late now unless they both collide, of course, which I don't hope for those two drivers. 206.3, 206.4 for the leading cars, 204.8 for Vlastimir Lucas. So he does really have the pace, but Horvat and Arella stayed out of trouble in the hectic phases, first half of the race, and then made their no-stopper strategy work. If they can still keep it for the next 2 minutes. So after this lap we will start our last lap of this race. Look how much later Robert can brake. That's really impressive. Or maybe Arella is still lifting and coasting just a little bit to make sure he has enough fuel to get to the end. Anyway, last lap of the race. Can Horvat make the move? Is he planning to? That's the most important question. Is he planning for a move for the lead of, or will he settle for a 1-2 for 77 and end up in second position? Also nice, of course, but that will mean that the championship battle in the final race at the Nürburgring, 100 minutes of the Nürburgring, will be a man-to-man battle with Vlastimir Lucas for the title. Vlastimir will have to at least finish in front of Horvat to have a chance to take the championship. We'll have to do some permutations there next time around, but it will be very, very close, that's for sure. In terms of the team's championship, I think that 77 with this 1-2 result have put that in a decisive order, with David Doer unfortunately not even starting this race due to technical issues. The Ironman looks like Ralph Arella has that in the bag if he can keep it all together at the Nürburgring. And the AM Cup Championship we will have to see in 2 weeks' time. But Jürgen Walby, he almost half the gap to Jack Camaletto, but looks like Jack Camaletto will take the win here at Bathurst as the counter reaches 0. 17 minutes of racing are done, and unless Horvat pulls something out of his hat, it will be Ralph Arella taking the win here at Mount Panorama Bathurst in Australia. And a first win of the season for him, and a 1-2 finish for 77. Well deserved to get out of keep out of trouble for these two. So a 1-2 finish for Ralph Arella and Robert Horvat. Vlastimir Lucas in the final sector, final braking zone of the race for him. A good attempt for him. He was in the lead at some point, then got dropped back by an incident. If not for that, he might have been right up there with Arella and Horvat, that's for sure. So good recovery drive, let's call it, for Vlastimir Lucas. Very strong performance by him once again. Jas Forsberg, he will finish in 4th. On strategy, Simon Fillingham could not get close again, so he will finish in 5th. That's 2 good strategy calls for those 2 drivers. And it's Janusz Migasz, Andrej Bergsma, then Jack Camaletto, as I said, taking the win in the AM Cup, followed by Jürgen Walby in 2nd. Marko Talevski will finish in 10th position. André Mol finishes in 3rd spot in the AM Cup and 11th overall. And then let's have a quick look. Rick Binnersley will finish in 12th. Clive Britton is right behind. He will finish in 13th without any issues. Callum Morgan, 14th spot. Stefano Merazzi, 15th. Mike Wyatt in 16th. Although he did already cross the line, sorry. Ethan Kearley will finish in 17th, and David Kocherek last of the finishing order will finish in 18th position. Quite some dropouts. We had David Dorre dropping, Rob Jones as well dropping with connection. Then Nigel Wood, Miguel Abreu, Manojlovic and Metcalf retiring from the race after incidents. So, as I predicted before the race, a race of attrition and a race of strategy won by the 77 crew of Ralph Arella and Robert Horvat. As expected as well, fastest lap of the race was for Vlastimir Lucas, but Arella takes away the win. Now, if you like the stream, disregarding the poor quality at the beginning, unfortunately, subscribe to this channel. If you want to get racing with us, which is what we like most, join us at rrleagues.com, and you'll find all the info there about our current series, and very soon about our upcoming series. So stay tuned for that. And if you're not racing with us, then I will see you in 2 weeks' time for the season finale, where we have the Teams Championship, the Drivers Championship, and possibly Am Cup and Ironman still on the line. So join me for that in 2 weeks' time. And all that's left for me is to say thank you for watching. Congratulations to all the finishers, the podium finishers as well, the Am Cup and the Pro Cup winners, and see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye bye.